Okay, so today I'm going to talk about, which might have to be in a couple of videos because this has been a long journey, lust and my journey with that and how it all began. The shamanic journeys, the meditations, the unraveling, like there's so many layers to it. So that's why I say it might have to be a couple of videos. Plus we all know that I like a story and talk loads, so I want to keep your attention. So I always led with lust. Like, now, how am I going to begin this? Let me start by beginning with my shamanic journey, because that's where it all changed when I had this experience. Well, actually, it began just before that. I was watching a program and I was like quite relating to this program and all of the details, and was like thinking I could tell this was some kind of like divine message in this program. So I was like like really aware of what I was watching, taking it all in. Then the woman who was like sharing her journey, she she turned round at one point and she was like, "Oh, I'm practicing celibacy." And that, I remember that hit me and I was like, what? Fucking hell, she's gone deep with this journey. And at that point, celibacy was so beyond my mind of something that I would have ever done. I was just like, yeah, all right, like she's deep on this journey, mate. Like, wow. But like I said, it was planting seeds, yeah. So then we come to the shamanic journey. So this is part one of the shamanic journey. There was lots, and I only share some of the details. So yeah, I was in a shamanic journey, going through doing some healing work, and at the end of this journey, after I received like some big healing through this meditation, and they was removing loads and loads of dark, black, dense energies from like my womb, my root chakra, just that whole area, doing a huge cleanse, and like loads of sludge was coming out and all sorts of crazy shit was going on. Then other bits were going on, and then, like I said, at the end, they come along and they put what I can only explain as, it's like a chastity belt, like iron gates across like my private region, like boom, these gates, and I locked it, and I was like, what? Like, what is that? What are you going on? Like, what's happening? And they was like, it's time for you to practice celibacy now. And I was like, oh no, you're kidding me. What? Like, my lower self, my denser self could not grasp this at all. And I was like half laughing, like, you were having a laugh, like you're taking a piss out of me. Like, surely, I can't have sex ever again then? That's it for me, is it? Like, yeah, all right. Like I said, up until this point, like, lust was a very big thing for me, a huge turn on, my drive, like how I led in all my relationships. Like, all of my relationships had been physical connections. I'd never ever connected with somebody emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Like, parts of it, yeah, I might have like dabbled a little bit in each of those areas, but the physical side of it was so important to me. And it was very wounded. Like, the physical part is still so important to me. I have huge sexual energy and I still have the lustful desires, but we'll get to that at the end. It was just that to fully alchemize this, there was needing to be a period of celibacy. So yeah, so I'm in this meditation, got the iron gates across my crutch, and I'm laughing like, you're taking the piss out of me. I can't do this. What you mean I can't? I don't want to be a nun. Like, no way, sex is amazing. You can't take that away from me, for God's sake. And they was laughing with me, like the energies that I was working with. And they was like, no, Laura, like, not forever. It's not forever. And then they was like, but now it is to only be with one like a specific person. And I was like, what? Like, and how will I know when I can like have sex again? I was like, it makes me laugh. Like, I was a little child, like, how will I know when I can like get down again? Like, you can't, whoa man, this is so bad. And they was like laughing, like, listen, you will 100% know when the time is right. You will just know, Laura. And I was like, I was still laughing at this point, just thinking this is just some crazy ass shamanic meditation. And I laughed and was like, yeah, all right, whatever. Like, I weren't even really going along with it at this point. Like, I just thought, we'll see, whatever. Like, that's not happening. Just not happening. And then after the iron gates and my energetic chastity belt got put on, I went on a massive journey of understanding sex, sexual alchemy, and lust. And like I say, the physical connection. Now, there is nothing wrong with, if you are just happy to share a physical connection, then there's no judgment about that. Do you know what I mean? I just, like I said, most of my life, that's the only type of connection that I'd ever really wanted. I had a huge lustful energy about me. Like, it was a huge turn on to me. Like, and I couldn't even grasp this whole mentality that they were sharing with me in the shamanic journey. So this is why, like, you know, everyone is where they're at, and you can't force people to want to have a deeper connection. Like, some people will only ever want to connect on a physical level, and that's absolutely fine. Like, it's just I'd got to the point where I actually did want to connect with people emotionally and spiritually and energetically, and all these other layers, all this connection. I wanted to do that. Well, I don't think that I consciously wanted to do it. Like, my higher self was guiding me to that. Because like I say, I was quite happy with, like, well, I'm just going to stay with physical connection, because I didn't really know anything else. So I had no comparison to it. But my higher self was guiding me the whole way through this. Like, you know, you think you want that, but you don't. And like I say, like, I led with lust, and I had huge desires for, like, you know, like, some fantasies would be like to just randomly meet someone and rip their clothes off and have like a sesh, or like, and still, yeah, like I say, I still have the desires, but now I'm like, I want to do them desires with someone who I also share a deeper connection with. Like, it's not enough on its own. Like, yeah, that kind of, it used to fill a gap, yeah, and like, I was using sex as a numbing tool, as an escapism. And again, there's no judgment. Some people only want to use sex for that. But my level of consciousness had grown. My level of awareness had grown. And I was just not honouring my highest self, really, by just entertaining connections that were only able to have a physical connection. And I was kind of feeling unfulfilled and not really knowing why. And that was why, like I say, there ain't no judgment, because some people will only ever want to share a connection that is a physical one. They won't want to, there's no interest for them to have that. And like, or there might be, like, in time, who knows how people develop, because I didn't know I was going to do this. But I'm just sharing with you how my journey unraveled with it, and how we can stop trying to get out of someone something that they just don't want. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who are after a deeper connection, and they're not honouring that, and they're just like having these physical connections. And then when they're not getting their emotional, spiritual, mental, energetic needs met, they then end up saying the other person is toxic, like they're a narcissist, or like they're giving me the come on, they're doing this, they're doing that. Well, no, you've just got two completely different people who want two different things from a connection, and you're not honouring your needs by engaging in someone that just wants a physical connection. It's about, like, you know, honouring the differences, the incompatibility. Like, you know, this is where we're getting so stuck, is like so many people are trying to have a connection with someone where it's just not incompatible anymore, or straight away. Like, and it's about having that discernment of, like, really drilling down of, what do you want from a connection? Like, do you want just a physical one, or do you want to explore what a spiritual, emotional, mental connection can be? And like I say, that doesn't mean there's no importance to a physical connection, because for me it is seriously important. Like, I have high sexual energy and I still have lustful desires. Like, lust is still like rah, like, you know, for you to have a longevity in your connection, I think there does need to be lust for each other, but healthy lust, where, you know, you're also got a bit of balance, you're also connecting on a mental level, you're also connecting emotionally, you're also connecting, like I say, in all these different areas. And that's just me, that's my makeup. Like, you might go through this and, like, you know, lust or physical connection ain't a big thing for you, but it is for me still. It's just that it's not from a wounded perspective now. But when you have a lot of trauma around sex, when you've used it for the wrong things, when you're deeply conditioned about what a connection is, when you haven't experienced a connection where you also are on those other levels of each other, your sexual drive and your needs, like, it's almost like you can't reach them. So another shamanic journey. So lots of my shamanic work actually is with sexual energy, because for me, it is very alchemizing. It's such a high vibration, yes. So when you're doing, like, when you're having sex, the vibration of sex is so high, especially when it's with the right person or in a specific container. So lots of my transformation or, like, biggest insights come through some kind of sexual experience. So I was having a shamanic journey and they were showing me, this is the part 2 of the shamanic journey, they were showing me like 2 people that were standing in front of me. Like, I had some serious horniness going on, yeah, and was working with my sacral chakra, and I was doing a lot of tantric work and moving the energy, and, like, so I was, like, deeply horny. And then in this shamanic journey, there was 2 people, like, not actual people, I didn't see their faces, just say, like, 2 outlines of people, and I was like, there you go, like, what do you want? There was one person that was standing there that was ready to just pick me up and, like, ravage me, which at that moment in time I really wanted that one. And then there was someone else there, like another energy, that it was like, this is the alternative one, where it's like still got that but it was completely different. And at first, like I said, I didn't really want that. I was like, oh, what's that? That feels a bit weird. I was not actually attracted at all to this energy. I was like, but I want to go that way. Give me that energy. I want him to pick me up and ravage me, rip my clothes off. Like, and I was like, 1 minute, like, see. And then they kind of showed me this experience of this energy that was, like, deeply connected on, like, in a way that I'd never experienced before, like, with all of my energy centers, and, like, I felt so safe and so explorative and wanting to, like, it just felt different. It was like someone who was completely, it was trying to show me, like, an energy connection where it wasn't just that, and it was a bit slower. So it weren't like they were picking me up and dragging me about. Like, this person was just embracing my body, exploring my body, like, almost like they were in awe of this physical vessel and just wanted to be in my energy. It was like, well, it was love, you know, it was a different type. It wasn't, they were showing me in this meditation lust and love, and how I could experience that and how much I was actually feeling the pull to that. But when I was like, all right, then I'll give in to this one, and I experienced that in the shamanic journey, it was mind-blowing, like mind-blowing. And that really made me realise, like, how I found deep love unattractive, actually. Like, I was more attracted to lust because I had led with lust my whole life and only experienced lust and physical connection. So that was another experience where it was showing me. And again, this I'm talking about, like, so I haven't had sex, yeah, since I think November 2021, or engaged in sexual activity with another person since February 2022. So I'm about 1.5 years in now, yeah. So this whole time I've been unraveling it, and I had touched on it very briefly before that November. It'd already been, like, my higher self was already bringing it into my awareness. So I say the programs, I'd done some unraveling towards sexual energy. I'd worked with it in Tantra. So the seeds were getting planted probably about a year before that. So there's a lot to this. But yeah, that was this like another shamanic journey and another layer to it. But I'm trying to get at that until you have experienced something other than lust, you're actually will find that you are more attracted to just a physical connection, because there's so many layers to it. There's wounding around sex, the reason that you use sex, the only way to connect. I had sexual trauma from things that happened when I was a very young girl too. So I had sexual shame, yeah. So I would attract other people that were quite pervy, mate. Like, cause also like there's a pervy sense to me. Like I say, I like kinks and stuff like that, so I was attracting it, but without that awareness, I was surrounded, like my whole life I have had a paedophile, I have had people that have spied on me, I've had stalkers, I've had I can't tell you how many bad sexual things that have been attracted to me. But you know, again, different spectrum, same thing. They have sexual shame, so they seek it out in like sordid ways. And I had sexual shame from the paedophile experience. So, and actually the sexual shame came before the paedophile experience. The paedophile experience, I attracted, this is a very high perspective as well, you know, like I'm not saying that anyone deserves to experience paedophilia, and it's taken me a lot of work to get here, and I'm fucking do not condone paedophilia, but what I'm saying is that situation was attracted to me in the first place, and I went along with the paedophile and the grooming because I already had sexual shame. So vibrationally, him and I were kind of a match, which is so fucked up, I know, to say this. And like the first time I started thinking about this, I was like, that's fucked up. But after doing lots and lots of layers on it, I'm like, I kind of get why that happened. So yeah, that's like that. I've gone way off of track with this. I told you I love a story, and there's so many layers to it. But then if we go back to learning through sexual shame, it was then like I had to, another shamanic journey was really finding the body, because after like I'd been like deeply celibate for a while and realizing that I myself wanted to have a connection that was deeper than that, just a physical, like it weren't ticking my boxes no more, it just weren't enough for me. I then was like deep in sexual shame, because there was still this huge part of me that really desired lust and sex, and I was like, I felt like there was something wrong with that, like I was being naughty. So then it was kind of understanding how amazing sex can be and really finding it again. So then I did a lot of shamanic journeying where they was showing me my own physical body, exploring my physical body, finding my sexuality again, enjoying it, desiring it, and then knowing that, you know, like that it's quite healthy. And everyone is different, but like I've said quite a few times, right, it's a big part of me. Like I couldn't be in a relationship with someone that I didn't have a physical connection with. Like that's still important to me. So again, other people may only be wanting an emotional connection or a mental connection, but I want it all, mate. I want a physical connection, emotional connection, spiritual connection, mental connection, energetic connection. And I believe that does exist, you know, like it's just up until this point, I wasn't really open to that because I didn't really know that it did exist. I didn't really know. So this video just gives you a bit of touch on some of the work that I've done, and how you can like start really homing down on this. Like it's a big thing. Like I'm not telling you you need to do this journey. I was just pushed and guided towards this by my higher self. But what you can do is get really, really clear on what you do actually desire from a connection. If it's just a bunk up, sweet, then go find people to have a bunk up with. If it's someone that you want to connect with mentally, like stimulating to the mind, who you can have an emotional connection with, who there's like caring and stuff like that, energetically, you know, you've got to be vibrating on the same kind of level actually for a successful connection, because if you're vibrating up here and someone's down here or the other way round, like you can't meet. So every time you try and communicate or it's like falling on deaf ears, you know what I mean? You both won't be able to like get through to each other because you're not vibrating on the same frequency. So get really clear what's important to you, but don't be surprised if what you think is like, you need to really sit with it and reflect it, like writing this and reflecting on why is that each point, why is that important, what do you want from that? Because simply just saying that you want something, like I say, I actually thought, well no, I want that raw, just that lustful sex, and that lustful physical connection, and actually found the other types of stuff quite unattractive. It's like really like actually sitting with yourself and being like, okay, like I'm saying that I want this physical connection. Is that going to be enough for me? And so on. And then it's about massively not shaming another person or judging or remaining with someone thinking that, you know, I really like this person, really, really like them. So the fact that I want an emotional and mental connection, I'm just going to let that slide because, you know, we've got a really good physical connection going on and that will suffice, because it doesn't suffice. And then you're not being true to your like values and what your true desires are. And then you become resentful towards that person because, you know, you're engaging in a connection that's just not fulfilling or ticking your boxes. So it's like a number of things, getting clear on what you require from a connection, maybe unraveling it a little bit and going backwards and making sure these things like really do align with your true self, not your shadow self. Honouring your shadow self, honouring your shadow desires, and all desires are worthy, you know what I mean? Like I love that part of me. It's just that now it's not wounded, you know what I mean? I ain't going about like lustful and just putting it out or like willing to do that, like because I know that even though that is like still part of me, it won't fulfill me in the long run, and then builds a resentment for self and resentment for the other. And yeah, like I say, no judgment to people who do want what they want. Like everyone is here and they've all got different journeys and they want different things from life, and that is completely fine. Like it's just about honouring what you want and then not just putting up with something that's not ticking your boxes or trying to squeeze someone into a box that they don't want to go in. Do you know what I mean? Like I say, if someone just wants a physical connection, they just want a physical connection. But you pretending that that's going to be enough for you then leads to you getting really stressed out. And, you know, this is what half of the problem is incompatibility. Is people, there is so many people in the world that are driven by this lustful physical connection, and they actually require more, and then they stay when they're incompatible. Like, listen, just get with people that have the same kind of core values, the same needs, that are looking for the same thing. Even then it still might not work out. You know, nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. But a good place to start at is definitely being clear on what you are looking in for a connection and sticking by that, regardless of if someone comes along and they proper tick your physical connection box, but they're not ticking the other boxes. Then you've got to just honour that, honour yourself and what you need, and honour what they need, you know, and what they're requiring, and accept it without judging, without having to hate on each other, without arguing, without pushing, without controlling, without trying to force or manipulate. Just accept that you're incompatible, like end of, like, and that's easier said than done because of codependency and trauma bonding, and the way that we have learned, everyone's learned to connect is so poor that we either stay in connections too long when our needs are not being met, or we are operating from a wound and we are seeking familiar love that we have been used to from our childhood. You know, you could, if you've only experienced lustful desires, then you won't. And also, if you have experienced narcissistic abuse, then that's familiar to you. You go seeking what is familiar, even if it doesn't fulfill you. So there's a lot of layers to this. There's like trauma work, inner child healing. There's many layers. It's not something that I've done overnight, you know, but like I say, I'm just giving you something to start with. People that do want to, who are ready to like explore sexual alchemy a bit more, they can always work with me separately, or find your right gurus that are going to help you unravel it. and explore that, you know. Yeah, so that's like my little bit of insight onto some of the stuff that I've done with sexual alchemy and lust and connections.